Hello all, welcome to the next video lecture of this course, Cryptography and Network Security. Today we will be learning about the network security model. This is the diagrammatic representation of the network security model. Now here we can see a message is to be transferred from one party to another across some sort of the internet. The two parties who are considered as the principals in this transaction must cooperate for the exchange to take place. A logical information channel is established by defining a route through the internet from source to destination and by the cooperative use of communication protocols. Those protocols can be TCP/IP protocol by the two principals. Security aspects come into play when it is necessary or desirable to protect the information transformation or information transmission from an opponent who may present a threat to confidentiality, authenticity, and so on. All the techniques for providing security have two components. First, a security related transformation on the information to be sent. Second, the addition of a code based on the contents of the message, which can be used to verify the identity of the sender. Some secret information shared by the two principals, it is hopped, unknown to the opponent. Example we can consider as an encryption key used in conjunction with the transformation to scramble the message before the transmission and unscramble it after the reception. So basically, this complete network security model gives you an idea of transmission of the data in the secured manner. For transmitting the data in the secured manner, wherein the encryption technologies can be used, the encryption methods can be used for encrypting the messages. The secret information is being shared among the both entities which are communicating amongst themselves, and that secret information should be shared amongst both of them. So basically, this general model has some requirements which we will be seeing in the next slide. These are some of the requirements for the network security model, which asks to design an algorithm for the security transformation. That means the algorithm should be designed in such a manner so that both the entities should be able to understand the algorithm, should be able to implement that algorithm for the secure transformation of the messages amongst them. It needs a secret key, which is considered here as the secret information used by an algorithm, and that secret key should be shared amongst both the parties. Both of the parties should be aware of that secret key, and both the parties should then use that secret key to encrypt and decrypt the message at their own ends. It also needs a method to distribute and share the secret information. A protocol enabling principle is required for the network security model, which is to use the transformation and the secret information for a security service. Basically, these requirements tell us that the working of this network security model has to be followed by having all these things, wherein we require an algorithm, wherein we require a shared key, which is considered as a secret key. In the later lectures, we will be seeing this key can be considered as a private or a public key, which is then needed or which is then used by the algorithms for the encryption of the message and the decryption of the message at the receiver's end, and the encryption obviously will take place at the sender's end before the transmission of the message. So both the sender and the receiver will have to have a shared secret key in between them to maintain the secrecy of the message. Then, how the sharing of that secret key should take place? For that, both the sender and the receiver will have to have one method, and that method will then be used by the sender to share the secret key with the receiver, so that no other third party or no other intruder or no other attacker should be in a position to get the access of that secret key. Another protocol needs to be enabled so that the transformation of the secret information should be provided as the security service. We need to have the principal mechanisms which can be then used for transformation of the messages, which can be then used for the transformation of the secret keys in between the users. And then the secret information should be transferred over the network by enabling these principles. So basically, a network security model should be implemented at both the ends for the error-free communication among the entities. This we can consider it as the network access security model. This model gives you another idea about the working of the information system. A general model is illustrated here, which reflects a concern for protecting an information system from, we can say, unwanted access. Most of the readers are familiar with concern causes by the existence of the hackers who attempt to penetrate the system that can be accessed over a network. A hacker can be someone who, with no malignant intent, simply gets satisfaction from breaking and entering into the computer system. That means that attacker must not be having any intent to get the data of your system. That attacker may becomes happy just by breaching into the security of your system. Or the intruder can be disgruntled employee who wishes to do some kind of a damage, or a criminal who seeks to exploit the computer assets for financial gain. There can be any type of the attack, or there can be any type of the opponent. That opponent can be a human also, that opponent can be a software also. So here we have one model to deal with such type of breaching into the system. This model also has some of the requirements. Here we need to select a proper gatekeeper function to identify the users. We need to implement some of the security controls to ensure only authorized users access, which are designated informations or the resources. Here we need to have the trusted computer systems which may be useful to implement these models. That means here for this network access security model, we need to have the proper gatekeeper functions. What are the gatekeeper functions? Gatekeeper functions can be any different type of the functions which can be implemented using some of the high end of firewall securities, or we can even have some types of the security softwares implemented into our systems which can then identify amongst the authenticated and unauthenticated users, or authorized or unauthorized users. Even these gatekeeper functions will then be able to know which particular user has what type of the access control rights for accessing what type of the data. So we need to have the proper security mechanism. We need to have the proper functionalities to identify the identity of the users. We need to implement the security controls to distinguish amongst the authorized and the unauthorized users. Access for designated information or for designated resources. In the just previously I explained that the access control rights can be dependent upon the type of the role that particular person is playing. So depending upon the role of the person, the access rights are being provided to the desired user or the desired person. So we need to have those security controls to maintain those access rights also. And for implementing all these things, we should have a trusted computer systems which will then be useful to implement this particular type of network access security model. Hope you must have got the concept of why the network security model is needed. Thank you.